Welcome to the Exciting and New Podcast. I'm Jason.
I'm Andy.
I'm Dana.
And I'm Mike.
Yeah.
Welcome, Mike.
We had that sound, don't we? The crowd or no?
Oh, we do somewhere. That's the laugh, and I cut off the intro music too by doing that. No, so we have laugh and we have a rim shot. So
today we're doing. Today we're doing Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, rated PG. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Running time was 1 hour and 58 minutes. Released on May 8th, 1984. Directed by Steve Spielberg,
which I think was like his only sequel. I think this and Last Crusade were the only sequels he did for a long time. I don't think he did. He didn't do Jaws 2. He didn't do Jurassic Park 2. Like, he was not in the habit of doing sequels.
Jurassic Park 2.
Did he do? Maybe he did Jurassic Park 2, but that was in the late 90s anyway. So by then he'd already done 3 Indiana Jones movies. But I knew for a while there he didn't like doing sequels.
Didn't he do a sequel to 1941?
Yeah, 1942. It was not as good. Like his one bomb. With a great cast, no
That
less.
was The Lost World. That was number 2, right?
Yeah.
That was directed by Steve Spielberg.
Okay. See, what do I know? I just say things. They're not actually true.
Yeah. Normally
Fake
we
news.
just...
Fake news.
And Joe Johnston did 3. Jurassic Park 3.
I liked the third one.
That was the one with
Leon?
T. Leon and
William H. Macy?
Yeah. That was
I think I saw that.
This is our first Steve Spielberg movie, right?
I know we did E.T.
Oh, that's right. Yes, we did E.T.
Yeah, we did Poltergeist.
So
Yeah,
which is
Poltergeist.
we did Poltergeist, which is
Right.
not technically a Steven Spielberg movie, even though it might
Steven
be.
Spielberg
It's a
movie.
secret Steven Spielberg
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Poor Toby.
So we don't really have to do his top 4, which we already know. You did E.T., you said that. Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, and Raiders made it in there.
Nice.
So,
That's a good top 4. That's a hard to beat top 4.
I'm going to have you read the description.
Oh, shit.
He says he likes to be surprised for this. So. You see where it's at, right?
Yep. All right.
It's a long paragraph.
Yes, it is. In 1935, Indiana Jones is tasked by Indian villagers with reclaiming a rock stolen from them by a secret cult beneath the catacombs of an ancient palace. Now, if I start getting words like, Shakira stone, I might stumble on those words. Okay. Indiana Jones teams up with a nightclub singer named Wilhelmina. Willie Scott. Did they ever say Wilhelmina in the movie?
No.
And a 12-year-old Chinese boy, just racist much, named Short Round.
He's Vietnamese.
And we can't just say
Chinese-born
Asian.
Vietnamese.
But
is what he is.
he did say he found him in the streets of Singapore, right? So I guess you could say he's Chinese. They end up in a small, distressed village in India where the people believe the evil spirits have taken all their children away after a sacred precious stone was stolen. They also discover a great mysterious terror surrounding a booby-trapped temple known as the Temple of Doom. Thuggy is in the beginning to attempt to rise once more, believing that with the power of all 5 Sankara stones, that they can rule the world. It's all up to Indiana to put an end to the Thuggy campaign, rescue the lost children, win the girl, and conquer the Temple of Doom.
You said that twice. I love
It's
it.
in there twice. They want you to know when the Temple of Doom actually gets to the movie.
The Temple of Doom.
Now, it says 1935, but there's not one point in this movie that it feels like it's 1935 to me.
No, not really.
I just never felt that. That's just one thing I felt was missing from this movie.
And here's the most disappointing thing. It takes place before Raiders.
Well, yeah.
So
Oh,
you know
I
how
didn't
it
know that.
ends.
Well, Indiana Jones isn't going to die.
Yeah.
But everybody else can die. No one else is in Raiders.
Why did they make it before Raid? I did not know that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but I don't know. They didn't have to. But George Lucas was adamant that he didn't want Nazis as the bad guys. So I guess they had to put it before there were Nazis. I mean, there were Nazis in 1935. They just weren't in power.
Yeah.
I don't know why they made it a prequel. Just because I guess at that time Lucas
I
already
never
had,
knew that it was
Lucas already
prequel.
had like
I never realized that.
prequel in his head.
This is a better Stone movie than
Nazi.
Romancing the Stone.
Absolutely.
Nazis weren't racist enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Now it's like the guys making the movies racist against Indians and Chinese people, for that matter, but definitely against Indian people.
If adventure has a name, it must be Indiana Jones. Or the hero is back. How about trust him? That one doesn't really make sense.
That's the whole tagline.
And
Trust him.
This one is my favorite. The man in the hat is back.
Okay.
Oh, it's a sequel to Curious George.
My favorite one of those was Friday the 13th Part 6, The Man in the Mask is Back. That was the tagline there. I think Alice Cooper had a song called that.
And probably was on the soundtrack, right?
It probably was. So we've done Harrison Ford already? Have we done him yet? Oh, we did Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. Yes, we have. So I'll mention that Harrison Ford is playing Indiana Jones, so we won't do his top four, although wasn't there no Star Wars in it when we did it?
I think
at one time.
At one point there weren't.
Because now episode 4 snuck in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait.
It's on the
top 4 grossing movies.
No, not top 4 on IMDb.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there's no real algorithm to that.
Right.
It makes just no sense.
Yeah, sometimes it's the weirdest movies that are in there. But
I'm surprised it's not The Force Awakens and not Episode 4, just because that's the way that thing works.
Because then Raiders made it in there, The Fugitive and Witness.
I love The Fugitive.
Being in there. Fugitive is a good movie inside the theater.
Yeah. Witness was really good too. My grandmother lived in Lancaster at the time. It was like a big deal that they were filming down in Lancaster.
I think I saw that. Was that Melanie Griffith?
No, that was Kelly McGillis, I think her name was.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And who was the bad guy? Shit, man. I don't know, but it was amongst the Amish.
Yeah.
Kate Capshaw, who met Steve Spielberg on here, and that's how they met and got married, played Willie Scott. I didn't know
she
what
married him? I didn't know they were married.
Yeah, they were married.
They're still married?
Still married.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But he left, damn, who did he leave? I remember she was in... Amy Irving.
Amy Irving.
He left her for...
That's who he was dating.
He was married to her, yeah.
Oh, we got married. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a big scandal. People in Hollywood getting divorced and marrying other people.
And now look at him. I guess he did okay, though.
He did.
Yeah.
Has she been in anything else?
Kate Capshaw?
Yeah.
I don't know anything else she was in.
Did she hitch her wagon to that star? And
I do know one thing. She was in Space Camp or something like that.
Dreamscape?
Space Camp. No, she was in Space Camp.
These were all...
Around the same time, maybe? I don't even know.
I got Black Rain, Just Cause, and Dreamscape.
So Space Camp was in the 80s for sure, but I want to say later 80s.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Dreamscape was earlier 80s.
Yeah, because that's...
No, it was after Raiders because it was PG-13.
Yeah.
And I thought that was... Dreamscape was the one Wes Craven did like in a prequel, like a setup to... I mean, I know it's not Nightmare on Elm Street, but I remember the bad guy in there had like... knives on his fingers. I remember seeing that after I saw Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm like, well, I guess that's where we got the idea for this.
We'll be doing a Wes Craven movie later this year.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
There's another one too. Wes Craven's
Last House on the Left?
No. Something else.
Damn, I can't remember.
Oh, Deadly Friend?
No, I'll think of it.
But
People Under the Stairs?
Black Rain is...
Let me just run down the whole list.
No, don't, because we're trying to do it in the 84 and you're fucking it up. Now keep talking about this movie.
Black Rain's Michael Douglas, right? I remember that when that came out. I didn't know Kate Capshaw was in that.
Ki Hoi Kwan played Short Round. This is our first time with him. He's my favorite Goonie.
Oh, absolutely.
What's
This
his
was
name?
so...
Yeah.
He was the same exact character in both
Just
movies.
a little younger.
Yeah, no difference. But I love it. I love him so much.
I will
great.
give him the ultimate compliment that I can give anybody as a child actor. He did not ruin the movie for me, because most child actors, I'm like,
yeah.
oh my God, they put a kid in here. I'm going to hate it automatically. I hated the kid in like Last Action Hero and the kid in Phantom Menace. And I'm
Kid
just
in
like,
Cujo?
Kid in Cujo. Oh, that
No
poor
way.
kid. That kid was
Danny
like 3.
Pintaro? I love him.
But usually, especially a smart mouth kid like that,
Yeah.
I'm just going to be like automatically, fuck you, kid. I want you to die. But I root for Short Round in this movie.
Yeah.
I wanted him
And
to...
it's nice to know that he had a successful career as a kid, but then many years later, just like all of a sudden he's in a movie.
Yeah, he's in everything.
Everything, everywhere, all at once, and he gets
in
the
Loki.
Oscar, and then he's just now he's been in X-Men. That was one of his top 4 as well.
Oh, he was in
He's in
X-Men?
the first X-Men, but it was a small part. Again, he
The
didn't.
first one?
Yeah.
I do not even remember him being in
Again,
that
that's
one.
what I'm
Wow.
saying. He had such a small part. He was
Yeah.
an adult, probably.
I was actually
too.
going to ask in between Goonies and
I didn't do all that.
Everything
research.
Everywhere
was
All
doing
at Once.
behind the scenes
I was
stuff.
going to say, what did he do for the last like 40 years? But I guess he was like,
I mean,
in
he had
Hollywood.
family and kids and everything too. So, but obviously he's doing well. I mean,
living off those Goonies residuals. Oh, there's a Goonies marathon on TBS.
I always watch it.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean? Every time that was on when I was a kid.
I gotta be honest, I don't think I've seen it since I saw it in the theater.
I've never seen
I've
it
watched
all the
that
way
so
through.
many
Like I've
times,
seen
yeah.
it.
You've never seen the Goonies all the way
I've
through?
never sat down and watched the Goonies.
Really?
It's on TV. 10 minutes left. I watch it. Michelle's watching it. I come up. It just started. I watched 10 minutes of it, but I've never seen the entire thing.
I've seen it countless times.
You'll be watching it next year.
I know, and I'm excited to
And
watch
a
it.
lot of the deleted scenes and the things they cut. And yeah, I've seen
I don't know
Love that
why.
movie.
I mean, like it came out in '85, and I was 15. That seems like the perfect movie for a 15-year-old kid.
Yeah.
I just don't know why.
Chuck
I don't
is
watch
a
it.
lawyer now, and
An entertainment lawyer.
An entertainment lawyer, because like a lot of the comedians, like Chris Stefano, that's his lawyer.
Yeah.
That's
funny.
funny.
He's
yeah.
a big lawyer. Like he's not, he's a big time lawyer, I
Yeah.
want to say.
He's doing well.
Yeah.
They made him do the truffle shuffle. I'm looking at him now. Did you see that part?
Does he? I know what that is. Does his clients make him do that before they sign him on?
No, he's
Like-
all skinny and
Yeah.
He's like,
buff.
he's like
It's not
really
funny
fit.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
He's like bald and like buff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good for him.
I'm not going to do the Amrish Puri. I'm not going to do all those guys. Chad Turlow.
There's only two other
Captain
people that I
Blue
want to
Heart.
talk
Yeah.
about.
Who do you want to talk about?
Well,
the old man from the village. What was his top 4?
yeah, I know the bald old man, like the one, the main
Yeah.
Indian
Bad guy. Yeah.
He's been in.
didn't speak English. Didn't speak English. Had Steven Spielberg say the words to him, and he
Really?
repeated them back phonetically or however, and
That's how he memorized it?
that's how he did it.
He did good.
Spielberg would just say
Wow.
like, "We need the stones,"
That's really
and he would
good,
say,
yeah.
"We need the stone," and that's how he did it.
Wow.
Yeah, but anyway,
I wouldn't be able to do that if you had me do like
No, absolutely
another
not.
language or whatever.
No.
I would be.
I'm
Unless it was
not
Spanish,
going to
or
bring
probably
up.
Spanish.
I'm not going to bring up the one guy, but
You could bring him up. Go ahead.
the
Who? I
big-
don't have many more people.
the big bad guy in the temple, the one that gets run over by the rolling the
Yeah.
giant
the
guy.
giant guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's the bad guy in Raiders of the Lost Ark that gets the propeller in the
Oh,
head.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
same
so
guy.
just stunt
So
man?
he was just in brown face in this one. The dude, the colonel or whatever, the British guy at the dinner is Grady from The Shining.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's the ghost that makes Jack
Oh.
go after his family. And then, of course, at the airport where they're getting on the plane,
Oh,
the guy
yeah.
that gets on the plane, that's Dan Aykroyd.
I had that.
Why
That's what I
did
said.
they
I didn't want to.
I know.
You said just do
I
it.
didn't think we had it.
Wait, who was
Why did
Dan
they get him
Aykroyd.
to do
Dan
that?
Aykroyd was the guy
Just a
that
cameo.
said,
He's probably
Yeah.
one of their friends.
he's
Somebody's
like, I
friend
got
or
you on a
whatever.
plane, and they're like, it's a transport plane. They're like, well, you only gave me like a little bit of time. He's like, you're Will Scott, the famous singer or whatever. He had a British
That's
accent.
Dan
and stuff
Aykroyd?
like that was Dan
Yeah.
Aykroyd. Yeah, you can barely even see him because it's not being.
No, they don't show him
it's
close up.
like
I heard
over
his
across
voice
the
and I was
plane,
like,
yeah.
that's Dan Aykroyd's voice.
Yeah.
There's also a few other cameos. George Lucas is a missionary in the background in the airport scene. Kathleen Kennedy is a dancer in the background in the airport scene.
Too bad they couldn't just have the propeller hit her at
And
that
Steve
time.
Spielberg was a missionary in the background in the airport scene.
Oh.
So they were
Interesting.
all, yeah.
Interesting.
But
Okay.
Dan Aykroyd was the biggest one.
I mean, I've seen this movie 1,000 times. I
Why
never
couldn't she
have
have
seen
been a
it.
missionary in the Green Inferno?
Why could
I like that
just send
movie.
her away? Just send her
I
away.
actually like that movie.
Yeah, so the rest of the cast is all, foreign actors.
This was Short
They're all
Round's
in
first.
Gandhi.
This was his film debut. So that's pretty good for his first
Oh.
film,
Really?
too.
He
Yeah.
was so cute.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I don't joke when I say that. Like almost all those Indian actors, like the ones that had speaking roles, they were all in Gandhi because I was clicking
They were.
on like, do I know this
All
guy?
their top
Gandhi,
four. Gandhi,
Gandhi.
yep.
I was like, well, I guess they filmed that in England, and this was filmed probably mostly in
Yeah.
England. And
You know this
They're
film
Indian.
right now? This film, I don't know why, but it's banned in India and it's never been shown on any TV channels in India.
Oh.
Really?
that dinner scene was pretty
Oh, it was awful.
It's
Look,
certainly
That scene?
yeah, it's certainly
Yes.
funny as like a white boy watching this in 1984.
I remember
and-
seeing that same
Right.
scene in Faces of Death.
This is a movie made for 12-year-old
Yeah,
boys.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that scene made me still like even last night when I was watching, I was like, oh my god,
I
I'm like, I
know.
can't believe it. Like the guy just grabbing the snakes as they're crawling out of the
Snakes.
boat.
Oh,
I'm
that's awful.
like, who eats like this?
When she thought it was a trunk. Did you like that
What's
part? When
that?
she thought it was the trunk. She thought it was the
Oh, with
elephant
the
trunk.
boa, yeah,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
fun. But then the bugs, which I that was the one thing where I was like, I guess like if you gave me that, I probably wouldn't push that away, but I would definitely push the snakes away, the live snakes, the
Yeah.
monkey brains, the soup with the eyeballs. Whose eyeballs were those? By
Yeah,
the way,
like that's the thing.
Like,
They
why
were
was
they
you
were
so
people
excited for the
eyeballs,
soup
right?
after everything else that was brought out? Why would you be excited for the soup that's coming out?
I
You
know.
know it's not going to be normal.
Yeah.
And I was noticing as this scene's happening, and Indy had already made the stink to her about like not eating the villagers' food. that he didn't eat at all. He didn't eat. The colonel guy didn't eat. The little Maharaja guy
notice
didn't eat.
what was being served.
They didn't even notice it. They weren't eating at all. And then the dessert came out. I'm like, I didn't see Indy pick up any snakes or eat any bugs there.
In the very beginning, do you know what the name of the club was that they were in?
I do know the club.
No? All right, gotta tell him, Andy.
Club Obi-Wan.
Yeah, where'd they get that name
Oh,
from?
really?
When they fall out down onto the what do you call it? The canopy.
Yeah.
It says Club Obi-Wan down the side of the place.
Thought that was pretty cool.
It is.
R2 and C-3PO were
Are
on
in
the
the
temple
Raiders.
in Raiders on
Yeah.
the like the
In the Well of Souls.
yeah, the hieroglyphics or whatever. Like, I guess they're always putting Star
And
Wars things in there.
E.T.'s in the
E.T. is
Phantom
in the
Menace.
Phantom Menace
Yeah.
in the Senate scene.
That's right. I was wondering in that first scene, which I thought was really good, the scene in Club Obi-Wan, how all those women fit on the dance floor, because
That's
that
what I was
dance floor was not big
That
enough.
dance
did
floor
not
then
with
opened up,
people.
and it was like this massive stage. Well,
Yeah, I didn't
Didn't make any
remember that
sense.
dance scene
Me
being as
either.
elaborate as it was.
I liked when Willie asked Indy if he knows how to fly a plane. Because the plane crashes. He's
No,
like,
not
"Yeah."
land.
obviously not.
Oh, well, now he's like, yeah. He still doesn't know how to land them. He can fly them. He just can't land them.
Did you ever think a raft like that would land?
Oh, my
There's
God.
no way
So
the
ridiculous.
physics of human bodies in a raft would work like that,
No.
right?
Not to mention, if you've ever been in a raft, you know it's inflated around the edges, but not on the bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're still going to hit the ground.
yeah.
And they fell 1,000 feet. I mean, they didn't fall 20 feet. And then they fell again.
They hit it just
They
the
fall
right
out of the plane.
angle on the mountain.
Oh, yeah.
But then they fell off the cliff down all the
Yeah,
way
but
onto the water.
Into the water.
Oh, man, that was great. I was like, they wrote this and they were like, yeah, we're just going to do that. We're going to have them fall out of a plane on a raft and then fall off a cliff on a raft.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
When they were in the beginning, or in the airport scene, or wherever that was, the club, and they poisoned him, and they're like, "But here's the antidote." But why did they have that? Because they were killing
'Cause
him
they
anyway.
want- well, yeah, they could've just
already
taken the
gave him
diamond
the damn
back from him.
diamond.
I told him I had a
what was
problem
the
with
point of the
antidote too,
antidote
the
being
kicking
there?
it around and everything.
Yeah,
It was so
like,
ridiculous.
It
that
was.
whole
I didn't see any reason. Like
Keystone
you already
Cop kind of
poisoned
thing,
him,
you know what
so
I mean?
he just go take it from him because he's gonna die. So just go get it. Why'd you bring that?
I guess they could have been the bigger man and just say,
And
like,
why
here's
would
the
he
antidote.
drink
Give
it?
us-
He knew that he shouldn't have drank. He
They're
got
very
nuts.
bad for him.
Yeah.
Look, the movie was tropes of all
I know.
over Hollywood.
Mike's mad that we're trying to
Absolutely.
make sense of this.
No, but you just kind of just
That's
sit
what this
back and
podcast
enjoy
is
it.
about. We make fun of this shit.
I
you know
was
what
kind
mean?
of surprised
Oh, I don't
that Indiana Jones, as an archaeologist, didn't want the remains of the first emperor of the Manchu dynasty and wanted a diamond. I'm like, what's Indiana Jones want with a diamond? He wants the mummy. You know,
Yeah.
that's something that he'd be more apt to want to have and
Indiana
collect.
Jones wanted to retire.
Well, that could
Yeah.
be too. He doesn't want to have to deal with the Ark of the Covenant next year or 2
Yeah.
years later, whenever that's going to come up. When he cuts down the gong, and the guy's shooting it, when they show it from behind there's all bullet
Yeah.
holes in there. That was not protecting him
No.
at all. I guess like the guy didn't know actually where to aim at him, but that's
Yeah.
when you just like shoot it back and forth. It'll eventually hit him.
I got a couple here. There was a scene involving Kate Capshaw and a rather large snake, which had to be cut, as Capshaw was having panic attacks at the very prospect of it. And Steven Spielberg jokingly says that the only reason Kate married him later was because he allowed the scene to be cut. In the original draft, there was supposed to be a motorcycle chase scene across the Great Wall of China, but the Chinese government wouldn't give him permission to film it.
Interesting. So
Not
wait, so
surprised.
that scene where she actually grabs the boa, like that's not the scene. Obviously, that didn't get cut. That actually
No, that's
happened.
the difference. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what she thought it was.
The snake,
yeah.
the elephant trunk.
Yeah. And that's Short Round's best friend. You're my best friend.
I know.
That's so
Aw.
sweet.
I would have made best friends with him too.
That was sweet.
Yeah, why couldn't they walk like the other guys? Why'd they have to ride those elephants with chains all over them? I felt so bad for them. You just know those elephants were not treated nicely.
It was the 80s. So.
I know.
there
It
was
just killed me.
ASPCA stuff already by then.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
So when I was watching this last night, I was thinking, I have seen this movie a ton of times as a kid. It was always on HBO, repeat, whatever. I didn't remember anything at all until they got to that table. As soon as they got to that table and were eating, I remember every single thing that happened after. I didn't remember that kids were taken. I didn't remember them falling out of the plane. I don't know if I just Never paid attention in the beginning because it's boring. Not boring, but as a kid, it's not the excitement.
But it's all set up too.
And
None
then
of
they
that's
get
important.
then they get to that table, and how can you forget that table? I remembered. Oh, then the brain is they're gonna eat chilled monkey brains, and they're gonna eat bugs, and then her putting her hand. The vivid memory I have of her putting her hand in that hole with the bugs climbing around it has stuck with me for
is a great
40
scene.
And then
years.
Harrison Ford, do it.
Yes.
We are going to die.
Yes.
And I don't know why he was able to stick, like, she starts to put her hand in the one hole and he sticks his hand out and he's like, the other right, your other right. I'm like, how come he's able to stick his hand through that one, but not the other one?
Right.
He can't release it from.
Like, how
Because
did the guy
it
get it
was
from the
pushed
inside?
back. He can't.
I don't know. I didn't-
Short Round was trying to grip it, but it was like flush against
Is
the
that
wall.
what it was? I couldn't
yeah.
really
You
get
told me to lean against the wall.
Yeah.
I couldn't really get the physics of what was how they were trying to release that door, but
Yeah.
whatever. It was just when she was walking on, like she was dressed in like a robe and slippers, and
Oh my
she
God,
was
they were like
crunching
flip-flops.
all those bars.
God. And then the one when it went to her hair, all things with like hundreds of legs, and oh my God.
That was the
awful.
one shot in that scene where you see it's obviously
Yeah,
just
a
a
dummy.
mannequin
Yeah,
head.
it was
of
a
a
dummy.
bug
The monkey
climbing around
brains
there.
actually sound pretty tasty. They were made from custard and raspberry sauce.
Oh,
Man,
that sounds good.
As long as those weren't real monkey heads, they
Yeah.
put it in.
But what were they slurping out of the bug shell?
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Ugh.
And the guy was,
Pate.
you don't eat monkey. What did he say? You don't eat bugs or whatever he said.
Yeah.
And he burped. Like I was like, that's not a realistic burp for what he just ate.
No, not at all.
So, one of my bigger questions in this is: so these Chinese pilots fly from Shanghai and they show the map and they go all the way to where do they go to? They show them fly to well, whatever. They fly all the way to India basically because they get out of the raft in India. China is a gigantic country, so these guys are on the plane for hours. So much so that they stopped, refueled, got back in the air, and went because they just show the line hit the next city and then go up in the air again. They could have dumped them anywhere. Now these guys have parachuted out of the plane into like the Himalayas.
I know they weren't here to
And
aim.
they
Like,
didn't even have a rafter when they hit the water.
Like how are they getting home? Like they've now parachuted out and they're like, okay, now we got to walk for 1,600 miles or whatever it is that
Oh my
they're
God, I know.
doing. Like I
Call
was,
an Uber.
they should have just gotten up in the air and pushed them out as soon as they got up, pushed them out, turned around, landed right there. They're like, yeah, everything's
And all those poor chickens
solved.
died.
Oh, but they can fly, right?
They were in cages.
All right, I got a
yeah.
question.
They should have thrown the chickens out. They would have lived.
I have a question for everybody. Here you go. Willie Scott, played by Kate Capshaw, screams. How many times does she scream in
Oh
this
my
movie?
God.
Oh, I know the answer exactly.
35.
Yeah.
Too many.
I was
Yeah.
going to say an hour and 58 minutes. That's
Yeah.
exactly what she screams.
She screams a grand total of 71 times
Oh my God.
throughout this movie.
That's like one every 2 minutes. That's insane. But that seems right. Too.
Yeah,
When they were lowering her into that pit of lava. I'm sorry, but she would have died.
Oh, she would have been
3 feet
barbecue by
in. Yeah,
then.
she would have been
She would have
melted.
died before she even got
Yeah.
past the floor.
And then they did it again to her. I was like, that's one too many times. Like when they
Yeah.
started lowering it back down, I'm like, okay, like
She
let's
had to
get
be
her
taught
up.
how to scream, too. She didn't even know how to scream, so she had screaming lessons. Then she screamed 71 times.
Did
You know
Spielberg
what?
give her personal screaming?
It's harder than you think.
Try it
Yeah.
like this. I can hit that one note when you do this to me, Steven.
I was in a screaming contest once.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
What's that
How'd you
mean?
do?
Like,
To win dinner with Gunnar Hansen.
Who's
How'd you
Gunnar
do?
Hansen?
From
The guy who played Leatherface from
yeah.
the Texas Chainsaw
okay. I was thinking
Massacre.
of someone else. Okay.
You were thinking the
Think
Hanson brothers, weren't
no,
you?
I was thinking of Gunnar Nelson.
Oh, that's
from
from
Nelson.
Nelson. Yeah.
That guy?
I didn't win. But I got an autographed poster.
That's cool.
that's probably even
Wow.
better because
Yeah.
now you have to sit with them and
Exactly.
eat and like make small talk with them.
Yeah.
Like, so
But you might have got other cool stuff signed.
might have.
too.
I can see why, though. If you're trying to scream, like, you really have to get it. Like, I would just be like, ah. Like, how do you
On the
fake
spot?
that? Yeah, like, I could see how you would need to be taught how to scream.
Like all those trauma movies. Like,
Yeah.
we're doing Toxic Avenger this year. Yeah. Just sign up for now. You want it? We'll put you in for it. Okay.
sign up.
Wait a minute.
Remember that. Mike's for Toxic Avenger. I'll put it on the thing after.
I've never seen it, so.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, it's so fun. You're going to hate it.
So
Oh,
Did
sure.
you see that they're remaking it with Peter
Yeah, with
Dinklage
Peter Dinklage, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
All right, then I'll definitely have to see that
and
first.
Kevin Bacon?
Oh, Kevin, I didn't know about Kevin Bacon.
Kevin
yet.
Bacon plays the bad guy.
Nice.
And I believe Lloyd's involved as well.
Oh,
right?
sure.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I find it interesting that Indiana Jones is not only fluent in Mandarin
Oh my God,
Chinese,
every language.
but he's also fluent in maybe some kind of like village dialect of Hindi or something like that. I was like, man, he's speaking these people. He knows exactly what they're talking about. And how do those people know English? I know India
Easy.
is
They
a
got the
UK.
script.
Yeah.
India is a UK
Steven
province
Spielberg
still at
was
this
telling
point,
them
but
how to
like
say it.
They made
that's
this.
right.
They made
Yeah.
these bats, giant bats.
They were
And
gigantic.
flying over
Are
there,
they
too.
normally out during the day?
No.
Okay, I didn't think
And they're
so.
not that big either. Vampire bats are a lot smaller than
Oh, okay.
that.
The regular sized bats.
Maybe they were turning into humans at that point. They
I,
were
read,
Yeah.
I think I read
process
that they were
changing.
fruit bats.
Oh.
that
Oh,
they
really?
used in the movie.
That's
Yeah.
much safer to have.
I had so many little stupid things to nitpick on, but one of them,
Do it.
when
Do
they
it.
were
See what
going
this movie's
through,
all about.
going through the tunnels in the little cart, and they came across like one of the pathways was blocked and don't go that way, and there was a danger sign in English in the middle of India, in the middle of a tunnel being dug by Indian people. Their danger signs were in English.
I'm going to one-up you on that and say in the plane, everything was written in Chinese except the fuel dump button that was written in English. So I knew what they were
Yes, they
doing.
did.
I was like, if they put it in Chinese, I'd be like, what the hell did they just push?
Yeah.
But they hit the fuel dump button. So.
They also didn't have to dump the fuel because they
No, they
jumped
could've
out of
just
the
gotten
plane.
out of the plane.
Yes.
But,
No, but then
maybe
he could have flown the plane.
Indy
and
might have been able to
pilot
fly.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Possibly
You
landed
never
it.
know. Yeah.
So I noticed that once they get past the dinner scene and he goes to her room and all that's going on, it is one long scene from there on
I
out.
know.
There is not
Non-stop
a cutaway
action.
to
Yes.
another scene, not a dialogue scene. The only thing you can kind of say is maybe that is when the kids are all in the cage together and the kids are
Yeah,
explaining to short
happens.
round what is going on. But that's
Yeah.
still kind of like all part of the same scene. I was like,
It was
this is so weird that it's
40
just
minutes
going
of
and
action
going
that never
and
ended.
going
Yeah.
and going because
Yeah.
I kind of thought that there was a break in between like Indy going down and getting the rock,
Yeah.
getting captured, and then but it happens right then. They
Yeah.
put it right then to him. I was
when they
like,
got
oh,
to the point where they're going through the tunnels. I was like, "This has been really long.
Yes.
It's just a one like they
One
need a break.
long
Like, yeah,
scene.
it really was.
and it doesn't ever break until I guess
No.
you could say the last scene where they finally get back to the
Yeah.
village. That's
Yeah.
kind of a break, but
Speaking of the village, every person in that village looked to be 50 or older.
well, the kids were gone. They said they couldn't keep
Yeah,
all the
but
kids.
like how
Well,
Where are all the
kids were
20-year-olds?
all-
were all the
Yeah.
20, not only that, but how did those people father 400 children in that village? There were so many children.
Lots of twins, lots of
You know,
triplets.
India's
Yeah.
got
Twins,
India's
yeah.
got the
Lots
second
of
biggest
crazy
population.
Saturday
population
nights.
on the planet, so. You know, it doesn't look like they had TV there to read, so
Yeah.
they had nothing else to do. Nothing else to do.
Lawrence Kasdan, he wrote Raiders, and he also wrote Empire and Return of the Jedi. He was asked to write this script, but he didn't want to be associated with Temple of Doom. He reflected, I just thought it was horrible. It's so mean. There's nothing pleasant about it. I think Temple of Doom represents a chaotic period in both Lucas and Spielberg lives, and the movie is very ugly and mean-spirited.
But how so?
I don't know if it's ugly. I don't
I
see
mean, I
that,
guess
but
if
I
he
guess
had problems with, the stereotype, if it even was a stereotype of Indian people eating monkey brains and things like, maybe he didn't like that.
I don't know.
I
It
think-
doesn't say why, but
I think most Indian people are vegetarians anyway, right?
Yeah,
So they probably
a lot of
aren't
them,
eating
yeah,
any of
yeah.
that stuff.
That's why a lot of Indians love Pizza Hut, because there's pizzas that they have.
'Cause it's not made
a
with
lot of
real
vegetable, a lot of vegetable pizzas from Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the child torture scenes. I don't know. That's I guess kind of dark, but
Yeah, they were
I mean, some of those kids definitely die.
whipping
Yeah.
those children, yeah. Speaking of the whip, that whip changed lengths many times.
Well,
Well, like his vast knowledge of languages, it lengthens and shortens depending on what
needed.
the script
Yeah.
needs.
Yeah, how far away?
when he whipped it around that
The
lamp.
elephant thing, or-
No, when he whipped it on the lamp and then swung
Yeah.
to get into the mine car,
Yeah.
it just kept going and going. Like, what is this attached to? A track?
And then he just goes,
And yeah,
Yeah,
Just comes back.
yeah.
Yeah.
and it's like, well, if that's all it took to knock it down, how did it carry
How did
you?
it stay?
Yeah.
And it's always the right amount of tension. Like when he whips
Exactly.
around Willie to bring her back,
Oh,
to him,
yeah.
it doesn't hurt her at
Yeah.
all. But he whips it around one of those guys, they are falling over in pain because they just got
Yeah.
whipped. Poor Indiana Jones.
The scene where they have like a big cauldron, if you will, maybe double the size of this room, which is not very big, that was full of water that they dumped.
Yes.
That flooded the entire cavernous mine system enough to flash out of there into the alligator pit
wait,
at such force.
How much water's in this
That's where
tank? They've been going for miles in there.
Yes.
And there were
Wait.
deep caverns.
Yeah, there were deep caverns, yeah.
That's where you can't suspend your disbelief?
Yeah.
I felt that was actually the only scene, too, that looked kind of like, for 1984 special effects, it kind of looked a little shoddy when he was, like, hanging, when the rocks gave way and he kind of had to hold on. I was like, that looks a little... I mean, the special effects were amazing through most of this. That end part...
The special effects
looked
with
a little...
the raft just weren't that great.
Yeah, that was silly.
In
too.
that scene, though, where Short Round, Indy, and Willie are falling out of the sky in the inflatable raft, they slide down a mountain and into a canyon. The canyon the production crew used was the Snake River Canyon in Twin Falls, Idaho. The same canyon somebody attempted to jump over.
Oh, Evel Knievel?
Yes.
Oh, wow, okay.
That's pretty cool.
With his rocket car.
We're going to talk about the rating system.
Sure.
Let me bring that up. Here we go, kids. I warned you.
Controversy.
In 1984, the movie industry will be changed forever in a way most of us don't think about anymore. In a 1-month span, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and Gremlins were both released to theaters. They were both massive successes, ending up just behind Ghostbusters, which we'll be doing later on this year, as the top box office draws of the year. Steven Spielberg, who was the most powerful director in Hollywood during the decade, had a hand in both films, directing Temple of Doom and executive producing Gremlins. Joe Dante was the director for Gremlins. There was just one big problem with the success. Both films were rated PG, and many parents complained about the amount of violence their kids had unexpectedly been exposed to. Because of this, a new rating was born. In 1984, the MPA, Motion Picture Association, created the PG-13 rating, which created a safe place for films that weren't family-friendly but weren't exactly so violent and profanity-laced to receive an R rating either. Indy came out May 8th, Gremlins June 8th, and on August 10th, the first movie that was rated PG-13 would be released. Don't say it, Andy. Do you know the first rated PG-13 movie?
And it was in 1984?
Mm-hmm.
And we
August
haven't done
10th,
it yet?
1984.
Controversial.
We'll be doing it
What?
this year. We haven't done it yet.
I don't know.
Red Dawn.
Very good. Red Dawn.
Oh,
yes.
I love that movie.
We already have a guest for that, right? New first time
Is
person.
that Doug?
Doug wants
Yeah,
to do
Doug
that.
wants
Yeah.
to do
Yes.
that one, yeah.
It's so funny watching this now. Like, I don't remember when I saw. I was 14, so I guess I was over 13. But
Did your parents call and complain?
no, they did not. But I was older anyway. But I don't remember at the time thinking it was any worse than Raiders. You know,
Yeah.
I thought
it was.
At the time, I didn't think it was. I mean, that face melting scene at the end
Yeah.
of Raiders has scarred me for years more than. Well, I was 10 when I saw that, so I guess I was younger. But
I was 8.
that would probably be PG-13 now, I guess. If
yeah.
I shouldn't have seen
In
that.
fact,
then.
I think they may have gone back and redone that.
Well, I was listening to our podcast the other day, Spinal Tap. That movie was PG. I'm like, that.
No, it wasn't.
I think you said it was PG. Maybe it was.
rated R.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
It
Maybe
was
I'm wrong.
R.
I think it was rated
What
R.
did we do last week? Did we do Spinal Tap last
Yeah.
week? I thought I heard PG-13. I'm like, how the
I
hell
have
is that?
PG on here. I don't
was
know what
like,
it had.
how-
Maybe
I was like,
I put
how
it
the
under
hell
by
is that movie
There's
PG?
no way.
But
Well, they don't really do anything bad in the
no
movie.
they say fuck a bunch of times. I was
Yeah.
just kind of like shocked,
There's
like
some-
how many
there's
times
some
they said it.
nudity
too.
Yeah, it's rated R. I don't know why
Okay.
PG. Yeah, I
All right.
apologize.
So I heard that and I was like, man, that
That's-
movie was really hard.
I think
for
it
a
was just
PG
for the
movie.
cursing because there's
Yeah.
there's no sex or
There's
Yeah.
some nudity in it. I think, like
maybe just in
topless
the
girl in
background.
the background
Topless. You
kind
might
of
see a
thing.
boob or two. Yeah.
And
I don't remember that.
Derek Small's penis, especially at the metal
They
detector.
do,
Oh,
you
yeah,
do see
that
that.
alone.
Yeah.
The
When it's down to
spandex.
his knee.
So, after they get past the bugs and the whatever you call that, the opposite way trash compactor with the spikes on it, they enter that big red room and they're walking over to where the actual Temple of Doom is, and Willie is just like, I don't want to be here. You know, she's like,
Did she scream by any chance?
at least one of her 71 times was there. But then Indy's like, I'm going to go down there and get that diamond. Or he says something about the diamonds because I guess the stones have diamonds in them. When they're closer together, the diamonds glow. And she's like, diamonds? Diamonds? And she stands up and I'm like, this bitch really is like, she's scared for her life and she hears the word diamond. She's like, I'm in. Whatever it takes. I need those diamonds. And that's, that set where the actual pit was, where they were doing the ceremony and stuff like that. That looked like the set from Spinal Tap. They had a big fake looking skull up there and stuff like that. I was like, that looks like it was exactly out of a Stonehenge monument.
During season 3 episode of Mythbusters in 2005, the team tested the plausibility of surviving a fall from an airplane in the life raft as depicted in this movie. After 3 drops with their test dummy in a raft, they determined that it was not possible to survive as shown in the film.
Out of 3 times?
Therefore, despite the lack of scientific rigor, the myth was deemed busted.
I bet the 4th time it would have worked out.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'd like to see those 3 times. I'm sure it was probably pretty brutal afterwards.
I bet.
But the fact that they were writing that and they're like, how are we going to get them out of the plane? Like, oh, they'll jump out with a raft. And they're like, any questions? Any questions? Like, let's do it that way.
I mean, landing in water at least would have made it a little more.
Again, you watched the guy's face melt in the first movie. How were you not prepared?
He also held on to the outside of a sub for
I completely forgot about that when I was watching this.
Damn, I had notes and I lost track.
Was it something like this was the only one indie movie not to be filmed in North America?
No, I didn't know that. Like, no scenes in North America.
No scenes at all, yeah.
Well, yeah, there had to have been, because you said they filmed at Snake Candy.
No setting. Not set anywhere.
Yeah.
It's at least set in his college most of the time.
Right.
At least starts there or something like that. So, when the kids are escaping the Temple of Doom and they're running up onto the table and kicking all the stuff over, I was like, that is valuable silverware there. They were just kicking out of the way. They should have been filling their pockets with that stuff and being like, I am living off these forks for the rest of my life.
Okay. These kids escaped. They have this big, long action sequence, and still they beat all the kids back to the village. These kids are hauling. They're running at full speed. They haven't eaten for days, so they may have gotten tired.
And that had to have been at least more than a 1-day travel because they camp out overnight with the elephants, and so it's days worth of traveling. So
they're not canyon.
Maybe Indy and Willie got a car and drove back and just abandoned it outside of town, and the kids were just catching up to them at that point. I thought about that, but I did think about when they were walking in. I'm like, they beat the kids. The kids left a half hour ago. How did they not get back yet?
I got 2 people that were considered for the role of Willie Scott before Kate Capshaw got it.
Well, I wonder if they ever...
Was it Amy Irving?
No, it was Sharon Stone and Marky Post.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sharon Stone went on to do the
From Night Court.
remake of King Solomon's Mind.
That was 85,
Richard Chamberlain.
I'm surprised they didn't want to...
She also did the sequel, Alan Quartermain in The Lost City of Gold.
Oh, I didn't even know there was a sequel to it.
1986.
Oh, yeah.
Alan Quartermain?
Yeah, he's that character from King Solomon's Mind.
He's the character from General Hospital. Thank you very much.
Well, he was like the inspiration for Indiana Jones. He was like an 18th century.
I never
Indiana
knew that.
Jones.
All these years I watched Alan Quartermain on General Hospital. I didn't know he
They
was.
have a character named Alan Quartermain?
That rich family.
Wow.
He's the head of the family.
The rich family? You're telling me that like I know there's a rich family
I thought
on the
you
show.
knew General. Oh, you were watching a different one with your mom, right?
Guiding Light.
Guiding Light, yeah.
It's a soap opera. How many times have you seen them like filmed it like, we're living in a shelter. No.
I don't know how they have come up with ideas for some of these soap operas for like 70 years.
I know,
how do
right?
they keep going, right?
It's the same thing over and over again.
I know. Damn. Oh, why are these guys such bad shots with the arrows at the end?
Right?
Like Indy's climbing up that ladder and there's like 50 guys shooting arrows.
It's like he has a force field around him.
Yeah. And he stops at one point to look back like, hey, what are you doing? Like they are trying
I'm trying to climb
They're
here.
trying to kill you.
Those alligators ate well that day, though.
Man,
How far away were those alligators at one point? And there's no way they're going to be down there that excited for somebody.
More importantly, do they even have alligators in India? That's what I was thinking.
I think they're only in Florida, actually, alligators. Maybe crocodiles, but those were alligators. Damn.
You keep forgetting
Why does he not pull Willie's heart out when he's getting her prepped to go down into the lava pit. Like he puts his hand over it, and then he just sends her down. Now I understand
that would be a quick end
because then Willie would have been
character.
dead no matter what happens. So I get that, but I thought it was weird that they've already established that this guy pulls people's hearts out, and then he never does it again. He tries to pull Indy's out. He doesn't pull Willie's out. But why do that then? Why set that up if that's never going to come back?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It did come
It's just
back
a cool scene.
when he tried to pull Indy's heart
Yeah,
out.
but they could have totally not had that in the movie. They could have just had them fighting and
Yeah, they just
you
want to
gotta-
kill her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you just needed to show him as like somebody doing something
crazy.
Something-
crazy
Yeah.
supernatural to make it a big bad
Using
guy.
superhero
Yeah.
power. Speaking of superhero powers, he's seen people get their hearts ripped out and live. He's seen, all the supernatural stuff that's happening here. And in a year, when he's doing all the stuff for Raiders of the Lost Ark, he keeps talking about how, hokey religions and ancient witch. I know that's not the same movie,
Also,
but
didn't he make the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs?
he did. But he is now
that
seen.
was before. That was before.
No, that was a long time ago, yeah. But he's seen
Different galaxy.
He has seen supernatural stuff in the Temple of Doom, and now when he's dealing with it in Egypt in a year, he's just like, yeah, it's all nonsense. None of that's real, and he knows it's real. He's seen supernatural things, but whatever. I don't know.
I got a cool Quentin Tarantino quote here. He said this was his favorite movie in the franchise. Steven Spielberg was full of piss and gauge. All right, on the case of back-to-back Jaws and Close Encounters. I'm trying to speak like Quentin Tarantino. I gotta speak a lot faster to do that. So that's why I was like weird. It said Steven Spielberg was full of piss and gauge. All right, on the case of back-to-back Jaws and Close Encounters. Now he figures he could do no wrong. Pushes the envelope, creates PG-13. The movie is so fucking badass. It created a new level in the MPAA, something Brian De Palma's never been able to do as much as he's tried. So I thought that was like a little dig at De Palma.
I wonder why he's
Yeah,
dating
but
Palmer.
what was De Palma trying to get? An X-ray?
I don't know. Has De Palma really tried to make a new rating, like with his? Has he tried to push the envelope that far? I mean, I know he makes some crazy movies and shit, but
What's his big movie? Like, what's he known for?
Dressed to Kill,
Scarface.
Double.
Oh, Scarface. Okay.
Body double.
Body double.
Body double was pretty risque. I haven't seen it in forever, but we're going to do it this year.
Yeah.
It's 1984.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's not as risque as you remember.
it was risque for a little 10-year-old.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
When you're watching it on scrambled prism at midnight in 1985, I'm like, oh my God, I think I saw a boob.
You're like, ooh, Emmanuel comes on after this.
Let me check the TV guide to see what's going on after the Phillies game tonight.
When you guys think of Harrison Ford, do you think of him as Indiana Jones or Han Solo? Like, do you have?
I think of him more as Indiana Jones because I
do
think
too.
that's more who Harrison Ford is.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I see him as Han Solo more. Yeah.
And I knew him as Han Solo first, but I feel
Yeah.
like he's more Indy.
Yeah, I think I gotta
Mine's
say
Indiana
Han
Jones.
Solo.
Oh, yeah. See, well, I didn't watch Star Wars as a kid. Obviously, I saw bits and pieces here and there. But
I watched
wasn't,
Indiana
into it.
Jones when I was a kid and everything, but I watched Star Wars a lot more.
Yeah.
than
Sure,
Yeah.
I did too.
Yeah.
I mean, I did too. I still have watched Star Wars more.
Yeah.
I hate myself every time I do nowadays, but
Poor kid.
just the new stuff.
I love catching
Wait, there's new stuff?
They made new movies in 2015.
and the TV shows.
Oh, is there TV shows? I guess they do that stuff now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you were talking about how you have all the streaming services. I know you're joking, but you have all the
Yes.
services. You have the access to all this terrible television that they're making.
Yes, but I choose to watch something
Choose
else.
not to watch. I chose not to run. Like all good sidekick characters, Short Round is the real hero of this movie because he saves Indy
Multiple
numerous times, especially at the end where he undoes the voodoo thing. But he's kicking like adult people's asses all over the place at the end there when Indy's still like all banged up from Indy's still fighting the dude and Willie's trying to get into the mine car and he's just
Right.
like knocking guys all over the place. I'm like, this kid's 10 years old. He's kicking adult men's asses. I was like, go Short Round.
Driving the car in the beginning
Driving
with
the
his
car, yep,
the
yep.
blocks on his shoes. He's just adorable.
No time for love, Dr. Jones. How many times did we say this to
doesn't say
Alan
that.
Jones back in the day?
Yeah,
He
right.
doesn't say that?
He doesn't. No.
What does he say?
Something about Dr. Jones' focus. No time for love.
Oh, okay.
It's
It's a
You're quoting Clerks.
Mandela-ism kind of thing.
No, you're quoting Clerks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They say that in Clerks,
Yeah.
quoting Indiana Jones incorrectly. Like
Yes.
I'm sure they like Tommy Boy said, "Luke, I am your father." It's a
Right,
fan,
yeah.
and it's not Luke, I am your father. It's
Right.
no, I am your
Just-
father. That's funny though. I watched the movie last night, and in my mind, he said, "No time for love, Dr. Jones."
And that's what made me think of it, because when I saw that scene, I went, "Holy cow! Wait, that's not the line. That's not the line. They got it wrong."
Do you notice in that last scene on the bridge there when they focus on Harrison Ford, like when he's standing with the machete up in the air and stuff like that? The tone of that movie changes. Like I feel like that was filmed in like a set. Everything else was filmed outside. Everything's like very bright and shiny, and then when they film on him, it like gets dark all of a sudden. I'm like, it just feels like it's a different shot. Every time I've seen that movie, I'm like, huh. Everything just kind of changed all of a sudden. Not tone-wise, like the tone of the movie, like the coloring of the movie. It just seems like everything's shadowy and darker. And I was like, they must have had to like pick up shots and just say, we need some close-ups, because it's filmed from so far away.
Sure.
That whole scene's filmed so we're like, we need some close-ups of Harrison. We'll do that in L.A. when we get back. You know.
I have a body count for this movie. You want to guess how many people were off for this movie? 48.
Let me
that's
think.
way
Go to
high.
Andy.
Oh man, I mean, like so many of those Indian guys died in the mines, and I'm going to say 50.
25.
Okay, I have
23.
43.
Oh,
Wow.
20 by Indy. Indy
20
killed
by
20.
Indy.
Wow.
Yeah.
so wait, so
He's a pacifist.
So who killed all the other people? I guess the guy at his friend in the
Yeah.
restaurant. And,
There was that guy who pulled the heart out of the other
that
dude's
guy.
chest.
Yes, that guy for sure died, and yeah. Oh yeah, Indy hangs that guy. Do you think a fan can hold the weight of a man?
No.
Like that fan
No way.
strangled
That thing's
him.
breaking instantly.
There were fans that I broke just by like holding it and like ripping it down the ceiling. I'm like, shit, shouldn't have done that.
Things were made better back in olden
That is true
days.
too. And that's probably like a hundreds of year old temple. And,
Ancient fan.
you know,
I'm out of notes.
I am too. I thought I took so many notes, but I also haven't shut up for the last 47 minutes.
You have anything else over there, Dana?
No, I don't.
How about you, Mike? You have anything
No.
you wanted to add to this? You want to get to some scores then? Sure. And we could talk about what we're going to pick next week. You're picking next week's.
Oh, I am?
Did you look and pick anything yet?
No,
or
because I didn't realize I was picking.
Well,
Sorry.
I picked this. This was my
Okay.
week. That's why. So,
All right.
if you want to look, now while we do our scores, yeah.
We did promise people on the last podcast that we're doing Suburbia this week.
Yeah,
We just
but
wanna do that.
nobody messaged us, so screw them. If they have a problem with them, they can message me at
they have
Legend
blame
Zoo.
me.
It's
They have
Legend Zoo on Instagram, Zoo74 on Twitter. They got something, knock. It's Jason Hunt on Facebook.
So I'll start with the scores.
Okay.
So of the 3 Indiana Jones movies that I consider the real Indiana Jones movies, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, and Last
IJCU.
Crusade, the IJCU, like, I mean, the Crystal Skull in that last pile of shit were movies I wish I could blank from my mind. They were really both terrible movies. I loved all the original Indy movies. I think Temple of Doom is my least favorite of them. I don't know if it's because it's not. There's no American scenes. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I don't know. This one just doesn't seem as fun as the other two. It's still a very good movie. I love watching it. But if I was going to give this a score on my Raiders or my Indiana Jones scale, I'm going to give it a 75.
Okay.
Which
Wow.
probably tips my hand at what my other scores for other movies are.
I went a little higher than you on this one. It's not my favorite Indy as well. I think it'd probably be Raiders. I think most people probably Raiders, but I went with an 81. I give it a little more. Again, I like this first few movies as well. I don't celebrate the entire catalog, but yeah, an 81 for me.
Okay. I love this movie. Watched it so many times as a kid. I'm not sure how much I've seen of Raiders.
You should go back and watch
Oh,
it.
you've
Yeah.
seen this more than Raiders?
yeah,
Oh,
for sure.
interesting. Okay.
The only thing I remember from Raiders is the giant ball rolling thing. That's,
That's
all
like
I
the first
remember.
scene
Like
of the
I
movie.
can't think of anything else. But probably just because of how old I was when that one came out, and then when
Yeah.
this one came out, and
It's
you
the
know
timing,
what was
yeah.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
timing. And Tara actually thought she had seen it and then didn't remember a single thing about this. So she doesn't. I think this was her first time seeing
Yeah.
this. She gave it a 75. She liked
Okay.
it.
Same as Andy?
Yeah.
Nice.
I liked it a lot. I gave it an 85.
85.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I gotta say, Raiders is obviously the best of the bunch.
Of
but
course, yeah.
they go in descending order from there.
Okay.
Temple of Doom is definitely way better than the
Last
rest
Crusade,
of,
yeah.
Last Crusade's a good movie,
Yeah, but it's not, yeah.
It's not Temple of Doom.
Okay.
I agree with that.
I will go the highest. I'm going to say it's a 90.
90.
All right. Nice. I'm not saying I don't like this movie, but if I was going to watch, I would watch Raiders, I'd watch Last Crusade, and then I'd watch Temple of Doom, and then I would stop.
That would be my 3. I would watch those 3 and be done, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I would watch.
definitely-
I'd watch them that way too. I'd watch them from, in my mind, best to least, but not worse. Just not as good as the other. I mean, Last Crusade's got Sean Connery in
That
it.
helps a little bit, yeah.
It's more humorous, which is good or bad. I don't like the way that they treat what's his name? Dude from Beverly Hills, from Trading Places. Blanking on his name. He's the professor at the college.
Eddie Murphy?
Yeah,
Delholm.
yes, Delholm Maroon.
Dan Aykroyd.
So anyway, he's not a goofball in Raiders, and in Last Crusade he is a goofball.
Yeah.
But I love the end scene in that movie, even though the logic of any of those traps doesn't make a bit of sense. I love all 3 of those traps and some of the other fun scenes. You get to have an Indiana Jones Hitler interaction. You know, what can beat that?
What do you got, Dana? Did you find anything you think? Or
Well, I was
couple that
looking
you wanna look
between 16 Candles or Bachelor Party.
Wow. There's a lot of good movies in that.
we got a lot of good ones right
Yeah. Because then I don't want to do all the good movies right away
Well, but
either.
the thing is, there's a lot to choose from. So
I
if
know.
you do a good one, you're still gonna have another good one
Yeah.
there later. So yeah.
I guess we'll have to see if either one of them is streaming. Anyway.
16 Candles is because
Yeah,
I
I
saw
figured
it on
16 Candles
HBO
would be.
Max. I think.
Okay.
And I think I saw Bachelor Party not too long ago.
Oh, really?
I think that might
Okay.
be on Max as well. Let
Yeah, I
me
think
just look
so.
that up. Yeah, Bachelor Party is
Bachelor Party owned by Disney?
Bachelor Party
Disney.
is only streaming on Stars or Apple TV. It says. I don't know. Do you have to have Stars?
I feel like Apple
I
TV
have
is going to
Stars.
charge you.
You have to have Stars for Bachelor Party.
Then let's do
Stars
16
upon
Candles.
ours
And 16 Candles.
from the Hughes-verse.
I think I saw that on Max as well.
That's on Netflix.
That's easy.
Sure.
Okay.
on Netflix,
All
yeah.
right. Good.
16 Candles for next week. We'll see if we can get a guest.
Okay.
Wow. I wonder if I get Logan for that. I mean, he's a fan of Breakfast Club for sure, but I don't know if he knows 16 Candles.
He might want to watch it. That might be a
Yeah,
good
I'll
one for him to
talk
watch.
to him.
Yeah, I'll ask him. That's definitely a good idea. Download, rate, subscribe, review. Go to Spreaker. Do all those fun things. Exciting and New is our name on all our socials. Download, rate, subscribe, review. Smash that subscribe button, Dana. Do all those fun things. What
I
they say
will.
on TikTok. I'm the Jazoo on Instagram. Jazoo74 on Twitter. Jason Hunt on Facebook. This has been the Exciting and New podcast. I'm Jason.
Agonzo1 on Twitter, Agonzo1970 on Instagram. I'm Andy.
Dana Caps on TikTok and Twitter. Dana Caps77 on Instagram. I'm Dana.
And I'm Mike.
Thanks for coming, Mike. Always
Thanks
a
for
pleasure.
having me.
Thank you, Mike.
Take a look at the list and pick which one you want to do next.
Well, you did say one.
Bachelor Party.